Joey was diagnosed pretty early, pretty young, and from early on, we knew that he probably would be on the more severe end of the spectrum. It was clear that he was profoundly affected in every way from his disabilities. Prior to his coming to Tradewinds, Joey had a lot of aggression and self-injurious behavior. And I know, those are words we use a lot. I think I hear them all the time. And I feel like sometimes people don't really know, what does that look like? Or, to what degree does this child display aggression and self-injury? And in our case, Joey was in and out of hospital placement. Any given time I could call the hospital and they considered him acute crisis based on the behavior that he displayed on a daily basis. We had actually leased an apartment to separate our children because we could not have all three of them in the same house due to the level of aggression and the danger that it posed for them. So we were separated as a family prior to his going residential. We still saw a lot of the aggression, still really had trouble with that. I felt like, we were being careful about the demands we were placing on him, which made me nervous as his mom. There's only so much time I felt like we had left in school to have teams of people help him. And I also felt like he's only getting bigger. So these things have to get worked out. So, I think it was in the past couple of years, particularly this past year when he joined this program, that we really saw gains. And my favorite thing that has happened in the past year since he started your program, my phone rang and I picked up my phone and it said Joey FaceTime, and usually his staff would help him FaceTime. So I thought, oh, okay, he must want to say hello and they must be helping him. And I answered and it was just Joey and there was no staff in the room. And the lights were off and he was sitting in his beanbag chair and he was upset. I could see that he had had a rough day. And he had called me because he was upset. And the thing about that is, one of the hardest parts about having to put him in a residential facility is that I know without his words when he has a bad day and I can be there for him because he's home. But other people aren't going to necessarily know that he had a bad day and he really needs to call. So when I was asked by his team, what's important to you? My answer was, I'd really like for him to learn how to charge his iPad and FaceTime me, because that felt like the biggest hurdle in his ability to independently FaceTime. Sometimes he would get the FaceTime part right, but he never got it right if his iPad wasn't charged. So for me to find out in the way that was the actual reason and motivation for me asking to work on that was huge. And it was probably one of my favorite moments in the last couple of years with Joey. It was something that I really, since he was 13, have had a hard time with, in knowing that on those tough days, would I be able to be there for him like I want. I can definitely say other things like, knowing that people take seriously when I ask to think about meaningful employment. There's a lot of people that would just sort of kind of pat me on my head and be like, oh, I've met you. But, people really believe that Joey can in fact do this and they see that potential, even though he's a kid that needs a lot of help. And, his skill acquisition level may not be quickly. It may be for some, but for some things it isn't, the quickest that he picks up stuff. So for me to be able to have people who are approachable and hear what my real true wishes for him are, not just what I think people want to work on or want me to say, but if I want to say to them, help him plug in his iPad and help him learn to be a busboy, that is so well received. It's all about opportunities. At the same time that you're talking about opportunities, you're talking about working on the things that may prohibit those opportunities. And so it's those two approaches in conjunction that's really, I think, the magic of this program. For us, most definitely, I feel like there was a lot of people that probably gave up on him a little bit, which is why I spoke to earlier, being so grateful that this is a team of people who, it doesn't matter what I say. If I say I want him to work in our restaurant, no one says, this is why that's probably not realistic. We work on it and we assume that that's possible. I think that's the difference. It's all about assuming possibility with kids, even kids who had dramatic aggression like my son. I think there's a lot of families that may say, that's great for this person's kid, but I don't think my kid can do that. And I feel like Joey really had a lot of impediments to his ability to just be comfortable in his own space and to be able to learn among everything else that was going on in his life, in his world, in his head, or whatever else we don't know. And I truly believe that all of our kids, no matter where they are, no matter where their aggression is or self-injury is, that we can create meaningful progress for him. And we did, for Joey. So I truly believe that.